There's a study that says that dad jokes are actually healthy for like kids growing up into good adults.
Please expand on that.
Klaus is also waiting for the punchline.
I didn't read the study, but
I haven't looked any deeper into it.
but they did define. So, like, do you know when a dad joke becomes a dad joke?
When you have a baby.
It becomes apparent.
That's what I was waiting for. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in the stage where jokes aren't quite hitting yet, but then you hit the dumb jokes are great, and then Klaus, are you on you got the oldest kiddo? Are you onto the stage of you're embarrassed?
Oh yeah, we were deep into the embarrassment. Lily will like. It's probably been the last year or two. It's because she's so deep into her friends at school, and she's like finding out who she is and trying to like build her own little network and identity. So yeah, there's been multiple times where I'll do something and she'll just immediately, you can see it on her face, and she'll shut me right down and say, Dad, stop. And she's only 8, so I can't imagine how much worse it's gonna get the older she is.
Yes.
I don't know.
Luckily, I have 2 littles that I can still do anything. And
Yes. Mm-hmm. The physical humor is still the peak humor in our house.
Yeah.
I feel like she's at that age where like she's gonna be the most embarrassed.
Yeah.
I feel like in high school it kind of like fades. It's like
what? For a girl, I feel like you're embarrassed all the way through. Like teenager, I feel like is the most embarrassed of your parent. No,
really.
That's the stereotype that I would think of.
See, I don't know. My mom was the single mom thing, so she was like a friend with all my friends. Like she was like a cool mom.
Cool mom.
To me, I didn't get it, but all my friends loved her. Like she would go on all the band trips, and like people would request for her to chaperone their bus to hang out with them. And
but you're also a guy, so how much that changed
for
your sister, and how she would feel about that.
Well, they had a very different relationship, and I was also the
because
baby.
you're going to.
I was the baby who could do no wrong.
Right.
Having a daughter who's a teenager with their parents.
Right. So. I guess it was so I have 3 siblings, and so I never really hit the embarrassment that hard, but like my siblings totally did. My brother and my younger sister especially. But my dad had a CDL, and so he like ended up driving the bus for a lot of field trips and stuff like that. So it was not just like, hey, you're a parent and come with us or whatever. It was like he's pretty default to be on the field trip regardless of whoever's in your class or whatever. And the buses always had those radios that were like I guess it's an intercom, not a radio, because like it's the speakers in the bus. And he would be cracking jokes every time we came to a stop or something, and pretending like he's like a pilot on an airplane, giving updates of the weather and whatnot. And he found it hilarious.
See, now how did you feel about it? Were you embarrassed?
I thought it was hilarious.
Because, like you said, you're the carbon copy of your father.
He was sitting in the seat right behind his dad, like,
whispering jokes into his ear.
Do the weather warning, guys. Tell them what altitude we're flying at on the bus.
I don't think they heard it in the back.
It's 4 feet. That was a good one. But my siblings didn't find that as intriguing. They would always be begging the other people with CDLs, "Hey, you're free this day, right? Can you please drive us?"
Did you take the test again and redo your license? Shoot. So you the oldest, youngest?
I'm number 3 or 4.
3 or 4. Okay.
So yeah,
I always forget that.
Yeah,
so you're a middle child.
Yeah, we're A, B, C, D, the first letters of our names. So Yeah, first two were unintentional.
You know, I'm not mad at that. That's something I would do.
Then they got to me and they're like, "Oh, we have A and B. We should do C," which makes mine less original. I feel
like the A-B name was unintentional.
Right. Those were just the names they had.
I thought you said the kids were unintentional.
we haven't had that conversation in my house, but
because all three of me and my siblings were
happy
planned.
accidents.
And, yeah.
Oh, planned.
Yeah.
Nice. You were the Bob Ross happy trees. They're happy accident.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, my son, I'm like super sarcastic with my humor, like super sarcastic, and my son just does not get it yet. And so like my wife is really trying to help him and be like, "Oh, Daddy's just kidding." Yes. And so now when he'll like look at me as I'm like being sarcastic, and I can tell if he's like starting to pick it up, because usually he'll be like, "Are you just kidding?" Right? And so he's starting to call me out a little bit, which is great, but he's not quite there yet. So it's like a mix between him catching it and then him just getting like super upset.
Oh, that's a great age when they finally start to understand it. Mm-hmm. We're split because Evie is getting to the point, but Lily will like retort, and so now we can kind of go back and forth. But Rylan is straight over his head. Yeah.
Because how old are your kids again? Remind me.
My son Alistair is turning 4 next month, right. And then Cosette is now 3.5 months. So she's like
months.
Yeah, she's super young.
Cool.
Still working on head support and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The cutest little baby you've ever seen. Oh, she is a little peanut.
So, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, Jess actually went back to work this week from maternity leave, so the second half of this week now I've taken off, so it's just been me and Cosette, which has been really fun.
Nice.
So
okay, so did you take any like paternity leave then?
So they offered it, but it was all unpaid for like a paternity leave. But I took 1 week of like I just saved up some like vacation time, and so I took 1 week of PTO right away.
Nice.
And then the whole time we kind of had discussed me taking a week or whatever to add like an extra week at the end of it before Cosette started going to daycare.
Nice.
Right, to get back into your wife working and
Yep.
See, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but that's exactly what I had to do. I used PTO, and then I just used FMLA, but it was all unpaid. So there was like several points where Kate was like, "You gotta go back to work."
Yeah. I have some clients who work for different companies, and one of them was just telling me not too long ago how their company just passed no matter if you're the husband or the wife, it's like an 8 or 10 week parental leave. Oh. No matter what.
Right.
Yes. And then
that's how
is it paid or 60% or is it
fully paid? And then so like if you're the mom or the person giving birth, right? Like then once the parental leave is done, that's when the FMLA will kick in for them, and they can take longer or short-term disability, whichever. But yeah, even dads get, I can't remember if it was 8 or 10, but 8 to 10 weeks.
That's crazy.
Paid time off.
Yeah, that's how my wife's work was, and so either and she they have like a deadline of you have to be working this certain amount of time or whatever before it kicks in, and she had worked there for a long time, and then Georgia. And then went off to work somewhere else, and then came back, and she just barely missed the deadline for that or whatever.
Yep.
And then her friend, who's a guy, they had a baby shortly after us, and so he was off for his like paternal leave for longer, whatever, better situation. But listen, I'm not totally mad about the trend of moving towards dads getting paid time off with that too.
I am. I'm not having any more kids.
I was gonna say, they do it right as I'm done having kids, and I'm already a stay-at-home dad.
Wait,
that would have been my dream at the time.
So don't improve for the rest of us?
No, if I can't enjoy it.
I'm
I don't get to benefit. No,
Okay, yeah. I have a bad story about this. Salt in my mouth, and I'm sorry, Georgia, but I'm gonna get a little hasty here. I went on. It's my second kid. You get 2 weeks paternity per my job, which is pretty good, you know, for males at the time. And then I was like, well, I'm just gonna take 2 more weeks vacation. So I took the whole month of May.
So the company gave you the 2 weeks, and then you took
2 more weeks.
PTO?
Yeah,
vacation.
I got a month paid.
Got it.
Stay home. Get back a week after working. When I get back, they upped my 2 weeks. That now paternity leave for males is 4 weeks. I was like,
oh my god!
So you used all your vacation time.
I was like, what? If I would have been a month later, I would have got 4 weeks free.
Hold that baby in.
and you were like, hey, can you honor this or whatever?
Are we
and
gonna
they were
back,
like, man.
They're like, you already submitted it. Can't.
Oh my!
It was like in the policy, like asterisk at the bottom. If you've already taken maternity, screw you. Like basically what it said.
Okay, so I get the resentment, but you know, have you ever heard the old saying, you plant a tree whose shade you'll never sit beneath? I feel like that's the old dad kind of concept. Maybe we're not there yet, but
I think it's just another way.
You guys are nicer than me. I'm taking the tree with me.
You're like, that tree's gonna be my coffin.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, like there's like
shade my
countries like New Zealand or something that like both parents like a year.
Yeah.
It's like law.
A year. Wow. You know, the amount that you would save on daycare too is like a ton, and then you think of like the overall labor that saves for the economy or whatever. I wonder if that kind of helps zero out too, but yeah.
Well, and then you got the fact of like these dads like in these companies that don't offer it, or if it's unpaid or whatever, you're taking the vacation, and some of these guys, young dads, you know, like having kids right as they start, they don't have a ton.
Yeah.
But then you go back to work, and what does your kid do? Goes to daycare.
Yeah.
And first time you throw a newborn into a bunch of with other kids, what do?
Yeah, they get sick immediately.
Sick.
Yeah.
So then you have no PTO to like, oh, I gotta stay home. It's like, well, no, you don't, because you don't have the money. Like,
well, another modern comfort. Work from home now. Yay!
Geez, yeah.
Bring your laptop home.
That's right. You can parent and work, right?
Yeah.
You can watch a
Definitely
newborn
do the
while
both
you're...
at the same time.
I was doing that.
Yeah.
I was doing that the other day, and or several weeks ago, and I'm home with one sick kiddo. But when you have one home sick from daycare, you have to have them both or whatever. And so Gideon's napping, the younger one. Theo, 2-year-old, is in this room playing, and I'm in the next adjoining room, big open door, on my laptop working or whatever, headphones in, and then I look out the window and I see him walking in his socks outside, and I'm like, what in the world? And so I throw my headphones off, run outside, and he's going, Georgia, come back!
Oh, no.
Yeah, so he had figured out for the very first time how to unlock the sliding door, pull it open, and she was long gone. I was not going to find her, so...
And you're home.
Yeah,
Two kids.
I can't go chase her, because I have 2 kids in the house that I'm responsible for.
Under 4.
Yeah. Thankfully, it was getting close to lunch break time or whatever. Well, it might have been like 10:30 or something. So I called Sophie, hey, can you take an early lunch? And so she came home, and we ended up catching her, obviously. She's back.
Yeah, she's right there. Yeah.
And I say catching because she probably was trying to escape. Yeah.
She's a runner.
Pretty hard life.
She is a runner.
Yeah. All the climbing and the... kids jumping on her and stuff like that. You know, I don't blame her. But, hey, we feed you. This is where your home is, so.
Yeah. Do you think she would eventually come back?
We've debated this. Sophie's of the frame of mind of like, why don't we just find out? You know, just let her go.
That'd be me.
Yeah, but she grew
if he
up
wants to be here.
Yeah, she grew up in the country, and when you got a country dog, I mean, sometimes you don't even keep them around or on a leash or whatever. You just let them run.
Sometimes you don't see them for a week.
Yeah, and they do end up wandering back or something like that. But in town, I'm more worried about her being so excited to meet new people that she jumps on somebody, and then somebody gets mad about it. You gotta call animal control, and then you have to like pay a ticket for that, pay fines for that.
Really?
Or if it's bad enough or whatever, then they can like put your dog down without your being able to do anything about it. So
just they bring the PD out and just
just right then,
right in the street,
right then and there, right in front of whatever kid she jumped on. No.
Right. Yeah, they don't
add to the trauma.
Right.
This should solve the issue.
Yeah. No, I had a. Yeah, it's a whole different world when you have animals in the country.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know. My cousin told me a story about this guy that he knew in college. He had 4, like, I don't know what they're actually called, but they were like Alaskan Huskies or something like that. Basically a wolf.
Oh my gosh.
But he said they were so expensive to feed. But they were like super duper trained.
You could like only feed them meat.
He
or
would
something?
he would never have them on a leash. He would go to like football games, all that stuff, and he could be like, he would just say like, they used all like the husky like sledding words, and he would be like yip, and they would go home, jump the fence, and stay there until he got home and sit there. So just like a pack of 4 huskies just
no, absolutely not. No,
through the street.
This is another level.
That's like another level.
So he was like in college, so he is like, it's like they eat like a lot of kibble.
Oh,
So what he would do,
Especially if you have multiple dogs.
what he would do is on Saturday, like on the weekends, he would take them out to like some public land, and he would just park his car and sit there and do like homework and stuff and let them go, and they would come back like all bloody.
They go
Just, like,
find
go
their own meals.
kill a deer
Oh my gosh, that's wild.
because they were just like, they were like part wolf.
Are they the ones that got your deer's 4th leg?
No.
Yeah, that's the kind of dog that you have a fence in your yard that obviously they can jump over.
It does nothing.
It's really just to tell other people to stay out of your yard.
Yep.
But like he would
Protect them from the dogs.
He would never leave him on, put him on a leash, and they would just like walk right beside him. And then when he would stop, they would sit down. Like they were uber trained.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't. Yeah, it was nuts.
Working dogs amaze me. You worked on a farm and stuff. You ever seen the working dogs for like hunting and stuff like that too?
Yeah, I've hunted behind like a bunch of good like dogs, like highly trained, like thousands and thousands of dollars put in. Like these dogs are like $4,000.
Yeah.
And then you put another 9 into training them.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like the little nuance like words you use and then they stop and all that stuff. Like, and they use like shock collars and stuff too, but once they're trained, you don't even use the shock.
Yeah.
It's like there's like a setting that like just vibrates and it's like,
Just
hey,
tells
this
them.
is the warning, and they're like, okay, well it doesn't hurt at all, but like, and they're so well trained, it's insane.
Yeah, we went pheasant hunting and just like this dog was taking us around and just would take him no time at all to find where these pheasants were and like take us right to them, go pick them up, you know, when we got one or whatever. And yeah, it's like, and then you watch him at the end, like he does get excited and stuff like that, but then you get done with the hunt or whatever and he hops in the truck and it's like, you can see he's done with his work day kind of situation.
Yeah, he's
like,
clocking out.
Nah, it's like, oh, you're a whole like working person in a dog. That's crazy.
It's like when you put that collar on or like that stuff, it's a whole different world, and they just go nose down and then they'll find something and point, and the amount of hold that they have. And then like I've seen it before. Like a pheasant will take like 2 steps and the dog will go. But it won't, but still like will point and then get up and then watch it and then just and then I get to go.
Yeah.
And it's you can almost see the heartbreak on their face when you miss.
Yes.
Like, and then they hear, and it's like, it didn't fall, bud. Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm here doing my job.
I literally like looked down one time. I was like, dang it! I looked over the dog, and he's just like,
side eye.
The dog's telling you had one job.
It's like a job because they're like, now I gotta go find another one. I don't get the joy of going and picking it up. It's like fetch for them, and you're like, you didn't fall.
That's great.
Well, we had a game preserve. Speaking of like dogs.
Oh,
and stuff.
yeah.
So we were licensed to like release stuff. So one year we bought and released quail.
Oh, okay.
So quail, when they fly, and I was told this, so I don't know if it's scientifically true, so people can roast me on this if they want, but that they hold their breath when they fly. Like they can't breathe as they're flying, and they don't fly very fast. So the dog, we had to be careful because the dogs would jump up and try to bite them. And if you shot too quick, you take your dog's head off.
Oh my god!
But like there were some instances where the quail would like fly low and the dog just just snatch it and just shake the living hell out of it.
Oh!
But if you were too quick to shoot, your dog jumps up. That's a bad day.
No kidding. Yeah, that was one thing they told us constantly. Was like, you don't let your gun go below a certain level or whatever. And he's watching you the whole time, the hunter, the dog owner or whatever. And because
it's an investment. It's
Yeah.
like they've put a lot of money.
Well, yeah, think about how
And
much you
it's-
spend on your equipment.
Yeah, and it's their coworker.
Yeah.
Right,
You know?
yeah. I mean, and it's like living, like you love the thing.
Right. Yeah.
But also, it's like to replace it's $10,000.
Right.
You know, like, not to say that like you just replace a dog because that's like hard to. Yeah, I'd be pretty pissed.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, and like pheasants will go up like pretty much right away, but the quail like fly just above the grass. It's hard to get to let them get out a little ways. Yeah.
See, Kate wants a dog, but because of has dog allergies, and I know there's no like true hypoallergenic dogs, but she wants a golden doodle.
Ooh.
And now, like we've talked about it enough, now my feed is just full of golden doodle videos. And apparently, these are not intelligent dogs. Like these are pretty ditzy. Like they don't get really the golden retriever intelligence.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm listening to you guys talk about these highly trained dogs, and I'm just picturing our future dog being absolutely useless in that situation.
Did you know that poodles were actually like bred to hunt like birds?
Oh, I didn't know
I
that.
believe it. They're mean.
I do always picture a miniature poodle when you say the word poodle, and then we've got some friends that have
Like real poodles.
Yeah.
Full size poodle.
You see the full size one, and you're like, "Whoa! I forgot that was even a thing."
Yeah.
What kind of dog is Peaches?
Yeah, so Peaches is a collie, a rough collie. And so, like, they're bred for, like, herding, right? Yeah, so it's really funny, though. So, like, she's our third dog that we've had. Our other two have been just like mutts, rescue, and then Peaches was the first dog where we went through a breeder. We knew we wanted a rough collie, and they're like one of the 5 breeds that's really known for like a family dog. And she just turned 1, and that's one thing I can't say is that she's like, when you think of like family dog, like she is a family dog. Like she loves the kids. She's like perfect with them. But she herds you. She like there's literally sometimes when I'm walking around the house where I'll stop and just like stop hurting me.
I'm in charge.
Right? Like I'm walking this way. I don't care where you want me to go. I'm going there. And it's just like literally a part of their instinct. It's so funny because it's not like we've trained her or taught her to do that at all. Because we don't have sheep or cattle or anything like that for
toddlers.
to herd.
That has to make.
Well, we do have a toddler.
Yeah, that has to make.
It might come in handy.
Great
That's
entertainment.
probably going to come in really handy. You're right.
Yeah.
Especially
Peaches.
because that's up and walking
Get the
again.
kids in the car. Let's go. I need their shoes on, coats on.
Yep.
In the car. Peaches go.
Yep. So,
Which is great because your other dog isn't that way.
yeah, so Buddy, when we adopted him, this was way before we even had thoughts of having kids, really. And when we adopted him, like in his backstory, they told us, like, by the way, like he was just brought back in from a house that had kids, and they were like very suspect of like they thought the kids were like abusing this dog. And so he's scared of kids. If he's taller than you, he's like very wary of you. And so the process of him getting like closer and closer to Alistair, like he's much better now. But like when Alistair has food, right? So like he'll like take a treat from Alistair now and things like that. But for the most part, when kids are around, he'll just go into the other room or find his space. And so now we kind of just put him in another room if we have, like when you guys came over, right? We'll keep him outside or put him in another room. Not really for the kids' safety, but more for like his own safety.
Like sanity, maybe.
But he's probably, I mean, if you brought your 3 kids over and you had your kids, like, he would probably just go to the other room anyways. Right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So just like, skip it.
He would come and say hi to all the adults.
Yeah.
Like 100%. And then once it like got loud and crazy,
Give a dirty look to the kids.
He would go into the other room. Yeah.
So how does he do with the baby then? Is he curious or does he just avoid?
Yeah, he just doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
He's just kind of across the room. If the baby's on the floor doing tummy time or something, and Jess or I are sitting there, he'll like come up and like lay right next to us like this. But he doesn't really care either way.
No.
Peaches, on the other hand, like, and if you follow Jess on Instagram, you'll see the pictures. Like she'll like lay right next to Cosette.
So they're bonded
like,
right away.
Oh yeah, like she wants to be.
Yep.
She wants to be around all the time. But her spatial awareness is not very good, and so she's like literally almost stepped on Cosette a couple times. So it's like, all right, come on, girl. Like you gotta get better here at this part of it. But
She's not big enough for that yet.
but yeah, no, she wants to be around the kids all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, did you do? Because you had how early did you get your dogs? Then the one was a little bit older, and then the other one was younger.
Roxy passed away last year, but I got Roxy in college.
Okay.
Buddy, we got like literally a month after we got married.
Oh,
and so it was just the two of them.
Okay.
All the way
How
up
old were the
until-
dogs? I guess is what I'm saying.
Roxy
Going back
was
to the
2.5 when we adopted her.
Okay.
Buddy was also 2.5.
Okay.
And then Peaches, we got to pick up when she was 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
Or 6
later.
weeks. 6 weeks, 8 weeks, right around there.
That's awesome.
So
I love collies.
Oh,
I grew up with
yeah.
collie. Like I was, my grandparents had a collie and we lived with them.
Yeah.
Because they basically like had a 1-level house and then they got richer and made another level on top of the house. So we lived in the bottom level, which had full kitchen, all the stuff. And they had a collie. And so I like grew up like similar things. Like I was probably an infant when they got the collie, and that thing. Me and her were thick as thieves. Like, everywhere together. And maybe, now that I think back to it with what you're saying, is like maybe she just herded me where she wanted me to go. Lived on a farm, all that stuff, and did the thing. But I had one of my dad's like best friends came, and I was like a toddler, not walking yet. And I was playing out in the grass, just in the thing, and he pulled up in his truck and got out, and then like lifted me up and put me on his shoulders, and I didn't know he was behind me. So I kind of was like, "Bah!" And like when he lifted me up, and that dog shot out of the garage, full sprint, and bit him right in the butt cheek.
Oh,
punctured.
That's your bodyguard.
Oh, he has stitches. Like he went right back in his truck to the hospital. Like
Yep.
yeah, and I'm surprised he didn't drop me on my head. It's like
Right? As he's got you up on top of him.
Yeah.
He's taking a dog to the butt.
Yeah, and then he set me down, and then she let go, and she just like stood right beside me. He's like, "No, dude, that's my bro."
That's great.
So I mean, they're great dogs, and I love them.
Yeah, we love.
Your kids will absolutely adore.
Yeah, you hate when that happens, but there's also like a bit of validation of like,
I'm a little proud of my dog.
Right. I know at least if it comes down to it, you got my back. Like,
Right.
We've never had a situation like that. I mean, she'll bark through a window, but it's usually like a squirrel or something. So part of me wonders, would you really be up for it if someone came in here?
When Justin and I talk about this all the time. So like with Buddy, like, I mean, dogs bark, obviously, but like Buddy only barks when he hears a noise outside. So like if someone's knocking on the door, doorbell goes off, he goes nuts, right?
Yeah.
And it drives us crazy that's like the one time he'll go nuts. But at the same time, it's like, it's actually kind of nice to know, right?
Yeah.
So like if he hears something outside, he's on it.
Yeah.
Even because they hear so much better than us. But
So you kind of use your dog as like a security system.
not
But,
I
like,
guess
it just-
built in.
Not
Right.
really,
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you guys? I'm a big like safety guy. Obviously, I lead the safety team lead the safety team for our church. But,
Sure.
What do you guys have like safety cameras like at your house? Anything like security?
We don't yet. We've talked about like setting up
Like a ring.
the ring system, and then I had a friend tell me about a different one that's like an outside, but also they can do inside cameras too. We want to. The house that we bought when we moved down here had I don't remember what brand, but they had one already installed.
We don't need to talk about brands. We're not sponsored by anything.
Yeah, they had a system installed that's still there, so like we could call them and they could start it up for us again.
Nice.
But those ones are like outrageously expensive. So,
Yeah, my father-in-law they installed the ring, and my kids think it is hilarious when you ring the doorbell and he comes on and
Talking to him.
Yeah, and then it's a new joke every time, and it's my kids get such a kick out of that.
Yes, that's funny.
Do you have anything out at your house?
Okay, so when we moved in, the main doors didn't even have deadbolts.
Why?
Because it's an old farmhouse,
Yeah.
and nothing happens out there. It's a lot more active now because of Rivian and just everything going on out there. But so when we moved
Like
in,
active, like you get knocks on your door.
no,
twice a week,
so
or-
we for those of you who have, I think everybody here has been to our house. We have that long drive in, and for some reason, when cars decide to come in and turn around, they come all the way in, and then they'll park in the driveway.
Yeah.
And half the time I don't, like, I'm standing there in the window, like, watching, like, thinking about, and I'm going through the whole process. Okay, so if these people get out of the car, what's my next move? Like, where am I going? What's my next move? What am I going to do? And they park, like, they'll just park on our little street, and it's a private drive, so there's signs up, and so Kate hates that. But the house had none of that. It's got like newer windows, so they have the safety clips on the windows and everything, so we're not worried there. But when we moved in, I had to put like bolts on, but they're I didn't install a deadbolt. They're like these sliding bolt things, and they're supposed to withstand like 800 pounds of force or whatever. They got good reviews, so Kate's brother-in-law ordered them. Because he was worried about us being out there. The only problem is since they lock from the inside and there's no way to unlock them from the outside, if you forget and you go out the garage and either the power's out or the garage door opener is not working, there is no way to get back in that. There is no way to get back in that. So now I've gotten good at figuring out how to break into that. We're not going to tell my secrets, but...
No, don't.
When somebody pulls into the driveway, what is is it more often you are the one who's like, I gotta go check that out? Or is it more often like when you're both home, is it like, babe, you gotta go check that out.
So obviously I'm home all day. I spend all day at home.
Right.
So I see it a lot more. But she'll definitely mention, hey, there's a car in our driveway. Or if even on Rivian, if there's a car just parked out on Rivian, pulled over.
Yeah.
And I think it's because before you get on the interstate, people have to pull over to either get situated or check their GPS or do whatever.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of conversations about why is that car just sitting there? They've been there a long time.
Yes.
And of course, nothing's happened. And
Yeah.
here's a good one. So we do this all the time, and it's pretty stereotypical. But do your wives, when you finally get in bed, you get situated.
Yes.
You're set. Do they turn into you and go, are all the doors locked?
Yes.
Every night.
No.
Every night.
Right. Or when you get to bed and get settled, and then they're still getting ready for bed or whatever, then they come and get settled. And then,
They get in, and then
you like the door?
did you lock the door?
Okay, I'll go in.
We've had this conversation thousands of times.
Yeah, no, but like the protector conversation is like, I feel like my radar doesn't go off as often as hers does. But also, like, my wife has a thing about like talking to strangers that like that is automatically in fear territory.
Yeah.
If there's a stranger talking to me, that is red flag big time. But if she plays it off cool enough, I don't pick up on the like flags, so this has been a point of contention before. But yeah, so there's definitely been those times that she's like trying to signal me, and I'm like oblivious because I love talking to strangers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have like
what's going
zero stranger danger.
Right.
You could be talking to Satan and be like, "What's up, bro?"
Right. So on the other hand, we definitely had a situation where like she had texted somebody to bring, something by the house or whatever, and it was like my distant cousin or whatever that we are friends on Facebook with, and comes by the house to drop something off. I don't recognize their car or whatever, and so I'm out in the driveway as they're like halfway down the driveway. I popped out that door and I was ready to like, take care of the situation before I was, and I was like, oh, okay, sorry. No, okay, I know who you are. Hey, how's it going? Ignore the face that I made the entire time you were pulling up my driveway. Yeah.
Chad's rolling up his sleeves, going out to his car.
I was tucking something back into my pocket there for that conversation. But
Jess is similar to your wife in that way of like when we're out in public, like I'm an extreme extrovert. I can talk to anyone.
Yes.
My wife is not.
Yeah.
But my son is an extreme extrovert. He will talk to anyone. Stranger danger. She tried to have that conversation with him. She was like, "Hey, if someone comes up to you and offers you, candy or whatever, what do you say?" And he's like, "Yes, please."
A free ride to the van? Let's go.
Yeah, he doesn't get it. But I think last year at one point we were talking about it, and she got to this point where like she'll take. This was before Cosette was born, but she would take him to like the store and whatnot. Yeah. And then at some point I just completely took over with it. And I think slightly because like whenever she would take him to the store, they would be in the checkout line. He would start a conversation with the person right next door. And she hates that. Right? Whereas with me, like I'm probably starting the conversation anyway. So we're both just having a conversation with a random person now.
And I feel like there's usually like this big like generation gap that you run to, especially at the grocery store, like with people who are older that are like, whenever they saw a baby, it's totally fine to say hello or like, oh my gosh, can I touch the hair or give it a kiss or blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay, hold on. But like, also, there's the heartstrings of like, that's a cute old person. Like, and I do I think my kid's cute too, but there's a line.
See, when we had the little babies like that, we learned real quick you got to keep them in their little. You have the car seat cover, you keep them in,
yes.
and then the ladies are trying to peek in there. No, leave her.
Right. Don't box them out. Put your body there.
Don't touch the baby.
Yes. Oh my god.
No, I feel like I'm different than you guys. Of what you said, like. I'm the one that gets in bed, and then I go through my checklist in my head.
See, I've had to train myself to.
And I'm like, did I lock the doors? And I always do.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're always
when
locked.
Have you gotten up and...
Never.
Yeah.
It's when I wake up in the morning and I get up there and the doors are unlocked and the system's unarmed. I'm like, Come on.
See, like you said, I don't know if it's a generational difference, and I'm not even like, I'm only 30, so I'm not old, but I was raised, our house was like, it was just never an issue. Like, I'm pretty sure our doors were left open all the time.
Oh yeah, dude.
And now, if I'm home with the kids, she's like, make sure the deadbolt is shut, make sure the alarms are out. We have little like alarms on the top that have a really loud beep that goes off. And
it makes me think: is it because that
is the world that much more dangerous,
right? Or do we hear more about the horror stories now than we ever did? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it could be both.
You have a little thing in your pocket that will tell you every 5 minutes a new thing that's happened.
So like, I grew up in a small town, so we didn't.
Yeah,
my keys in my car never left the cup holder.
I still leave my keys in my car.
Yeah. Well,
I shouldn't say that.
Too, I grew up in a small town too, in Michigan, and I remember there was one time where in the middle of the night, like, we all woke up because there was like knocking, and my parents went downstairs, but we all kind of looked, and the police officers were just standing right there because our front door was just wide open.
Oh,
they were checking
and so a neighbor had called and to say, hey, their door's open, and I mean, nothing was wrong. Somehow, like, it just didn't close all the way, and it must not have been locked, and the wind blew it open or something, right? But like, just
we had that happen at our old house with our garage door. The garage door was open. 3 a.m. They're banging on the door, and like, I didn't wake up immediately. Like, it didn't occur to me that was like happening in real life. So, I mean, bad on my reaction time, but we also had a newborn at the time, which is like another layer of like, don't be pounding on my door at 3 a.m. or whatever. So I finally get out there. I'm like, what is going on? They're like, hey, by the way, your garage door's open. I'm like,
thanks.
Could you just close it?
Just reach in, hit the button, and walk out. Like,
you say that
at beam.
At 3 a.m. I am such a hard sleeper. I would be useless if anything happens in the middle of the night. I am. It's gonna take me 5 minutes to get up and even realize what's happening.
Right, and I was like close to getting 4 hours of sleep in a row because we had a newborn. It's like, brother, you don't realize what.
And as soon as and then you hear the baby start crying. You're like, oh, now we're gonna have words.
Right. Oh my god.
Like growing up, like in a small town, like your car would be gone in the morning. You're like, dang it, Jake. Like, because that would be what we'd do. We'd go steal each other's cars.
And park them down the road.
Or whatever. Like, hey, go find your car. Like, it was like a game. Like, hey, dude, where's my car? It was our game because we would steal your car.
At the same time,
the movie was based
awesome
on you.
because we were just like, and even so, we moved to Bloomington when I was almost 10, I want to say, but before that, like, it was awesome because like I would literally ride my bike. I mean, in Bloomington I would too, but like in Marshall, Michigan is where I grew up. Like, I would just ride my bike literally everywhere, right? And like, my parents would know I was out, and I would tell them where I was going, right? But like at the same time, like, there was so much more freedom in a way at 7, 8, 9 years old, and I come here, and it's like, then my parents were like, okay, much bigger town. My parents grew up here, but now it's like, okay, now we got to put a little bit more restrictions in certain ways because it's like, it's not the same.
Now you have a smartphone with a tracker on it, and we know where you're at.
we know where you're at. Right. So going back to what you were saying about Alistair being an extreme extrovert and just oblivious to
stranger danger.
Yeah. So how do you guys have, like, how often do you have the conversations with your kids about, like, what to do in those situations? Like you said, like, what do you do in those situations? Because my kids are prepared for anything. My wife is like so good at letting, like, giving them more information than they need, but like making sure they understand the reality. So my kids, like, and she'll prompt them, like, she'll just randomly throw out prompts and be like, so if this happens, what do we do? And they're all, Rylan, I think, is still tailing along, and he's still oblivious, but the two older girls are right prepared for pretty much anything.
I think Jess is starting to do the same thing, especially with Alistair. Like, she's definitely having those conversations with him more.
I don't ever remember having those conversations as a kid. I don't remember any of that as a kid. But now I see it with my kids. I'm like, oh, this makes is
sense.
Good for them to know these things.
Yeah. I feel like that conversation has to happen earlier when you have an extrovert. Because, like, our kids are, like, totally scared of every stranger right now. Like, even our friends that we haven't seen for several days in a row, then they're like, the first reaction isn't always like, oh, hey, I know who you are, or whatever. So they're not quite to that point. But if you got an extrovert on your hands,
right,
So one of my favorites is like we go to the Dells with my sister and her family and my mother every year, and we have the pep talk every morning before we go out to the parks. If you get lost, you can't find us, we get separated, what do we do? And the kids know, you find an employee or you find a mom with kids and you ask them to help you find. And our kids like immediately know the answer, and it's also what do you do if first time I call you? First time I call you, we answer the first time. Like, and so my kids are very well prepared for.
Yeah.
And that's a testament more to my wife, because I would never. I grew up again. We pretty much got to do whatever we want.
Is that kind of a nod to your father-in-law, probably then? Little father-in-law
I would
influence?
imagine.
Yeah.
Probably.
I give credit to my wife, but I would imagine.
I mean, your wife did all the work, but like your
it,
father-in-law is kind of like. I think your wife has told me like, if you like go on to like a beach or like a vacation or something, your dad will like take like a picture of that morning.
Oh, he knows. Yeah.
Their kid.
We take and we do that now too. We take pictures of our kids, so we have one to show that day, and we show them where all the exits are, and we show them who the people to talk to are, and we point out all the other moms if you need to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
I think the other big conversation that we continue to have with Alistair, and I don't know if it's because the extreme extrovert, we're already having to do this more or whatnot, but is like the consent kind of conversation.
Yep.
So like, just for example, I take him to the gym with me in the morning a few days a week, and literally this happened this week where I went and I picked him up, and he was sitting on the beanbag chair, and like he was sitting there with like cuddling with a girl, right? Like same age, right? Yeah. I didn't think anything of it. It's like, whatever. And then the next morning when I went downstairs to get him up from sleeping, he'd like literally say good morning to him, and the first thing he says to me is like, Daddy, I want to cuddle with a girl again.
Oh. And I'm like, 3, 4, almost 4.
Okay. I mean, if they are okay with that, then that's fine. But you need to make sure that you're asking people, right? If it's okay to hug them, or if it's okay to sit sit with them, whatever that is, right? And that's not the first time that, in a way, that we've had that type of conversation. But I think, especially with when he was spending so much time with your kids, because your kids love the hugs.
Oh,
and now Alistair
very much
loves hugs now too. Yeah. I think mainly because of that so much. And so like that was when we really started having that conversation too, because it was also like, hey, if you don't want to hug, that's okay, right? Just say, I'm not up for it.
And our kids need to hear that sometimes.
And so now it's like, it goes both ways, right? So if you want to hug someone, ask them, and if they say no, that's okay, right? But yeah, it's another big conversation that we've been having with him.
Yeah, I think that's like where I'm kind of like, I had great plans of like, to make like, hey, this is our family plan if this happens or that happens, and we just, I don't think they like, we've talked about it before, but they just don't.
You gotta
care.
give them more.
Yeah, they aren't like getting
They're
it.
just not engaged.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, our kids don't have a choice.
Yeah,
you're gonna sit here and you're gonna do it, or we're just gonna be here all night until you show me that you understand where.
We're gonna do some Lost Child boot camp here. And
so here's a new.
Do you want the candy? No, don't take the candy.
I don't know what we were watching, but a commercial came on, and for I think it was like a Meta commercial, and they had a new firefighter screen where it showed all this digital stuff, and it was like, oh, this is what we're going to do with VR, and it was firefighters running through a burning building, and my daughter Everly, middle child, is very sensitive, so this was, I think I must have been out with you, because when I got home Kate told me all about this, but she had like a full panic of, is that going to happen? Like, is our house going to be on fire? Like, what's going to happen? So we had to do, it was again the same talk, like, no, it's trying to find that line of, no,
but if it does,
but it's not gonna happen. But if it does, what do we do? And she at the time was very so emotionally like upset. But we walked her through it, and we showed her the fire alarms, and and then said, well, if you can't get out, Lily knows how to get out the windows, which she's not supposed to be doing, but we know she knows how to get out. She knows how to get out the windows. And we will be there. And if you don't see us yet, go to the neighbor's house. They're safe people. So we have a lot of these conversations.
Yeah.
You have like a safety point and all that stuff. Yeah,
they know where to go. They know.
Yeah, we have not had those type of conversations yet.
Food for thought.
Yeah, I think
this is Kate. I would never think of this stuff.
I think it's a great idea.
I like now I'm more aware of these things, and I've talking to my father-in-law and just knowing what he does, I'm more cognizant of my surroundings and that sort of things. And just with my former job, I was trained to be very aware of exits and watching
because you drove
suspicious people.
You helped drive an armored car,
trucks
right?
for 6 years, and I would do the stops and be in and out carrying a lot of money. So I was very aware, but
I almost shot my brother one time. I didn't get there, but my brother lives with us. He's going to college in town, and just for financial reasons, it's a great spot for him to just do that. And
also a free babysitter.
Free, yeah. Hey, you're gonna babysit?
We're going out.
I ask you to? Yeah. Okay. No, it's great, but I would wake up groggy, the alarm goes, not the alarm, but I get the notification on my phone, front door open.
Yeah.
And I'm what's going on? And I'm there's a little lag in my phone, it doesn't pull up the footage right away. And I'm putting in the passcode to this gun safe that's right next to my thing while it's loading, and literally had my hand on it, and then I saw my brother walk in, and I was never mind.
Let's put this away.
Yeah,
couple steps away.
It wasn't I was in hand aiming at him.
Have you had to do a full sweep of that? Has your wife ever woken you up in the middle of the night and said, "I swear I heard something"? Go. Have you ever had to do the full sweep?
I've done
it a couple times.
Yeah, I don't know if "had to" is the word, but
for her mental health, it is absolutely a have to. I'm getting my butt out of bed. Yeah. I'm walking around in my underwear, ready for whatever's coming around the corner.
Right. Well, that and my flashlight are one. So if I'm checking out the house,
the bat or anything.
I have my gun. Checking the corners.
See, that's where I'm different. I would my wife's it's fine. Just go back to bed.
Oh, see, that'd be me.
No, I'm clearing the house. It's go time.
Luckily, I know the noises of the house, so I know if she's hearing oh, nope, that's the water pipe. Nope, that's the roof outside. Nope, that's this and this. But occasionally there'll be one we haven't heard, and then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You sure? Yeah. And then, but it depends. If I'm in my deep sleep, good luck. You go check it out.
Our last house.
Chivalry goes out the window in the middle of the night.
Our last house was right on campus, and so there was plenty of nights of other folks having a grand old time, and right to our what would have been our backyard was an apartment complex of students or whatever too. So many a time, somebody comes up knocking or is just, wandering around where they shouldn't be wandering around. And so, yes. Yeah. And it was a small enough house. It didn't take me long to clear the house. Anyways, so might as well do a little peep around the corner, and then you can see our whole house or whatever. So
it's good.
Right. Yeah, a little, and I mean the flashlight is bright enough that it just that's the intimidation factor anyways.
Yeah. But do you think that we were talking about protecting family and what do you do and stuff, do you think that got super emphasized when you had kids, or did you always have that kind of awareness? Or if your your wife became a mom, was it that click?
So I have certain awareness just from my former job and that aspect of it, but no, it definitely I would be oblivious, because again, I was raised I don't remember ever having the door locked, and maybe I was just oblivious to it, but she has definitely trained that into me, and it's definitely gotten better as I'm older and I understand where she's coming from, and I can understand it more. And there is part that you don't want anything to happen to these kids,
right?
So but no, I was oblivious for the longest time.
Yeah. So my wife grew up in the country, so I feel it was more so. I mean, as soon as we got married and moved in together, it was a whole like getting used to other people being around, because like the house she grew up in, there's not a curtain to this day. There's not a curtain on the bathroom window. You know, it's like your neighbors should never ever be close enough to be able to
unless
see
they have
the
like
window.
a telescope.
Right. That would have to be a pretty serious telescope to see all the way across the cornfield.
Right. Mile by mile block.
Right, right. So when we first got married, we were in an apartment, and so there's more so the factor of like she's not used to having any human noise being around,
Right.
so I'm having to check those out and be conscious of that. But like I grew up in Bloomington, so like there's more of that interaction, but like I never saw it as threatening for the most part. Now in our last house, we've definitely had some interactions that weren't like. One time, somebody like broke into my car, grabbed my backpack with my camera equipment, my laptop, and we had Georgia at the time, and she must have like barked at him and scared him off because the backpack was dropped pretty close to the car, and then scattered across the whole yard was like my laptop, my a couple of pieces of camera equipment, hard drives, and things like that. But not a single thing was missing. It was like that was a bit of a miracle there. But definitely like one of those that's like, okay, that was an inch away from somebody robbing us. Well, they kind of did rob us.
Where was that apartment at? Your first one?
So that was our house actually, and that was like on Willow, like right on campus.
Okay, yeah.
So the student apartments were right there and whatnot. And just a lot of like foot traffic. It's pretty close to Uptown too.
Yeah.
So even if you can't find parking on a busy day at Uptown, it wouldn't be out of the question for people to be parking on Willowhead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
So what's the worst place you guys have lived? So I'll start. When we first moved in together, we got an apartment over. Does anybody know Tracy Drive?
Oh my!
That was our first apartment, and it's not known to be the greatest area of apartments. So we had several times where her car would get broken into, or we'd leave the doors open and all the change would be gone. And so we learned you don't leave anything in the cars.
Yeah,
it's fine. But we never had any altercations or issues. But we heard a lot of sirens, a lot of stuff within the complex.
So, you hear a lot of those fireworks.
Yeah, I don't know if we ever did, but I'm sure. I'm also again at that point would have been oblivious to it anyway. So
So I think my wife has one of the worst. This is when I started getting like safety conscious. So when we were dating, we both went to Iowa State, but she for the summer went and lived with her sister in Minneapolis, and she lived in Dinkytown. Which, if you've ever been to Minneapolis, like when they had the riots, like right above her apartment was the helicopter. Like she has bullet holes in her building and things like that, and like car on fire flipped in the street, like from her apartment complex you could like see it. Like that was that year, and I remember that was the year like I grew up small town, never keys never left the cup holder. Like I said, I went up there and I left the keys in the cup holder because it's just what I've done my whole life. And I went up there and she's like, okay, well, let's go. Where's your keys? And I'm like, well, they're in the car. She's like, you don't leave your keys in the car and down here, and then that was like, I remember going up and visiting her and seeing that and then being like, I don't want to leave because I don't feel like I was in the shower and I heard sirens and I'm like, is that the TV? No, it's just right outside.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's just standard sound around here.
Like, and it was just like hard to leave because it was such like a harsh place, and it was like she showed me the bullet holes, and it looked like, that was rough, but I think from like a safety standpoint, we've never been in like hard spots together. From a sanitary and a lot of like drugs smelling. Oh yeah, we have been, but
that was Tracy. You knew what you're smelling.
Yeah. So
you lived.
I'm trying to think. So Jess grew up, it was very similar to your wife, like out in the country, small town Illinois, in between Springfield, Decatur. Closest neighbor was
Georgia. That is awful.
Georgia. Oh my goodness.
Get out of here. You don't get to be up here.
oh man.
Come up here.
I thought that was
You're
you.
gonna have to timestamp that.
Oh god.
Sorry for the interruption.
Anyway.
Let's restart that.
So, so my wife is definitely more like yours, where she grew up small town Illinois between Springfield and Decatur. Closest neighbor was over a mile away, right? So like, when her parents, they now live just outside of Springfield, but in a bigger community. When they first moved there, her dad would do the same thing, just leave the keys in the truck. And I remember a few years ago, he was like, "Oh, can't do that anymore," right? Because someone had gotten in and taken the change and stuff like that. But or he didn't leave the keys in there, but he would just leave it unlocked.
Yeah.
And so I think from a safety standpoint, again, going back to having Buddy, that's like super nice to have, right? Because like, again, he hears any noise outside and he's immediately perked up. I don't think we've ever really lived in like a bad place necessarily, or an unsafe place, but when I was doing my internship from a master's program, I was going into it was up in Chicago. I was going into Chicago into South Side, West Side every single day.
You were taking the train, right?
Going to different. I was driving.
Okay.
But going to different schools and meeting with kids and doing after school programs and stuff like that. And there was one day where I was literally meeting with a kid, and the kids and the rest of the school was outside for recess, and all of a sudden all the kids are just running inside, right? And there had been a shooting like 2 blocks down, right? And so I'm like, okay, I'm like the therapist on site, like, you know, what type of interventions might I have to do? And as I was like talking to each kid, they were all like, oh, honestly, fine.
They're not even phased by
no, because you know, this is kind of like an everyday occurrence in certain ways, right? And so it was like it was more of a shock to maybe some of the teachers who didn't necessarily live in the area. I think to me too, it was just like eye-opening shock in a way of like, okay, like, yeah, this is different. But I'll say that and say I never felt unsafe. Like, I loved that part of that year, my internship and whatnot. Like, I loved that time.
But the kids were like, well, it's 2 blocks away. That was fine.
Right.
Like,
they were running inside because the teachers were telling them to get inside.
Yeah, they were.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
then there's the kids, I want to keep playing. Come
right.
on.
Yeah.
Dang, that's crazy.
But as far as, yeah, Jess and I, like, we've never really lived in unsafe areas.
Nice.
Yeah. We were looking at when we moved here. We did look at some houses over by ISU, and there were some that we really liked because my wife likes the old kind of early 1900s houses and the look, and I like them too.
There's some really cool ones.
There's some really, especially
historic
on
district
Fell
has some
Street.
great ones.
So we saw a couple on Fell Street, and they were beautiful.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we were just like, this is maybe just a little too close to college campus, and we did that enough.
You forget about it for most of the time. I mean, it's really just some pretty peak times that are like, you know, homecoming or whatever big event is happening.
Graduation.
St. Pat's.
Then the summer is like, it's totally
it's great. That's the only time you can go uptown is days like
yeah. Or like winter break and stuff is nice. But, it definitely... Yeah, it's something to consider for sure.
We lived a couple blocks west of the stadium there, right off campus, and we could hear every time the band would practice. We could hear the drum line, and we could hear the band. And every time there was a football game, you could hear it very clearly. And, but we never had any. I think we were like just far enough in the right direction that it was mostly either very old people or young families.
Yeah.
So I think it was like that kind of starter neighborhood that a lot of this town is. So we didn't hit, but we could always hear celebration and nightlife off in the distance.
Not too far away.
Yeah.
Nice.
Although we had two neighbors on the each side of us. They were both old ladies, and they were very different personalities. One was very sweet, like always tried to talk to the kids, would get us like gifts for the holidays for the kids, just little random trinkets and stuff. And then the other one was, I don't know a nice way to put it. She sat with her binoculars.
Yes.
Watching the neighborhood most of the time. So I always felt like
watch.
Yeah, so I always felt good knowing, well, if anything happens, she's going to be the first one. She'll know. Like, she's up at all hours of the night.
Yes.
But there was something weird about, like, oh, she's in the window again.
That's going to be me when I'm 90.
See, I better live. I want to be like you grew up. I want to be on land, away from everybody.
There you go.
I want to be a mile from the entrance to my drive.
Yeah. I'm going to be like Clint Eastwood sitting on the porch.
Sitting on the porch. El Camino on the drive.
Just bourbon in my coffee cup.
There you go.
Shotgun laying down.
Dog.
Using a shotgun as your cane.
Yeah.
Dog just perked waiting right next to you.
I think,
Some sweet tea. Great. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's one of those things, like, I still don't get the pleasure of is like the sitting on the front porch in a rocking chair doing nothing. I'm a do something always kind of guy, and maybe that's the stage of life that I'm in right now, but like I've always been if we're sitting, let's play a game or something.
See, I'm very much if I sit too long, I have to get up and I'll start pacing. And even today, Kate was in the chair, I was sitting, all the babies were napping, and I get up and she's like, "You gonna start pacing?" I was like, "Yeah." Although, if you give me a porch swing and something to sip on, I will sit there. I'll sit there all day.
Like
that's our dream one day, is to have a wraparound porch with a swing and we could just sit and
That'd be awesome.
sit and look.
that'd be good.
Yeah.
That's the navigating each other's family events.
Yeah. You fart again.
You're out. You're out of
I'm
here.
opening the screen door and letting you run away from it.
This time we're not chasing after you.
I know I've let you out before and ran after you. I'm not doing it this time.
Is that what your family events are like? You said Jess is from the country. Is it like let's all sit around and we'll just talk in our chairs?
No, actually. Yeah, so I would say both sides are pretty active families. I will say, so I have my mom's family lives out in a small town just outside of town.
Nice.
And when we used to go out there, it was, they had the separate 2-car garage that was extra deep, and the whole family, you'd bring your lawn chairs.
Sit right with the garage doors open.
They had the games over in the grass, but the garage doors open, tables lined on every wall with just the food and stuff like that. So I definitely have had family events like that for sure. But
Your parents would be back by the pool.
At my parents' place? Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah.
They would do the grill out.
Yeah.
Oh, pool. Yeah. You can run out all your energy right there. That's perfect. Yeah, they do humor me. I'm always the one that like brings my own ridiculous games and stuff like that. And we'll do a hot sauce challenge, or we'll do game that is from Target. Target's game selection is great, by the way.
Yeah.
Not a sponsor, but they
Not a sponsor.
We're Walmart people anyways, it's fine.
Have you played the one where it's like the 2 golf balls are connected by a string and you toss it and there's like 3?
Oh yeah, the ladders.
There's ladder and you get points.
Long golf.
So I bought one of those.
Yeah.
I bought one of those, or somebody. It was either a gift or I got it, and it only had 1 ladder in it. And I thought you're supposed to have two,
three.
like bags.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
two.
like bags. You go back and forth, right?
Right.
No, this had
right.
one ladder and one ball, and I was like, "What am I supposed to do with this?" And
Was this
No,
Target?
yeah.
Is this?
You're supposed to shop at Target.
It was. Might have been the Aldi version.
Yeah.
I've had good luck with the Aldi stuff. So
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's
but
good.
you probably only paid $5 for it then. You know?
I mean, you probably didn't put it together right because you're not a
Not a project.
not a project.
Oh my.
Kate said something the other day.
She
She
said you're
wanted
not-
me to do something, and I was like, "Sorry, not a project.
Not a project guy.
Can't do it. Yeah, it's not me."
That's right. Hey, listen, we'll put Brady on the guitar and see how well he does with that.
Yeah, we'll swap places for today.
I will be the one to tell you that don't trust me with any musical equipment. I'll take it out of the
Yeah,
trailer.
there's a reason we started a podcast and not a band.
Yeah, that's
That's great.
true. True. No, I think with like the safety thing, like the minute my son was born, I'm like, I was never a handgun guy, and I was like, I'm getting a gun.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, that's time.
Yes.
See, I had one for work.
Yeah.
That's why I got it. But now I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah, there's something that shifts in you that's like I can pretty well justify in my mind, you know, a confrontation with somebody that's like, you know, you know, if they really need to, you know, have whatever's in my wallet or whatever, that's I can let that go or whatever. But then you bring somebody else in the world that's like,
You bring my kids into it.
yeah,
It's a whole nother level.
there is no longer any question that I'm leaving up in the air at all.
Yeah.
Like,
And there's a certain level like where I went like mentally of like, I'm 5'9", $160 soaking wet.
$160 is generous.
Soaking wet.
I could throw you around.
And I'm like,
$160.
there's not many people that I'm going to be like, no, hold on, let me beat your butt here
yeah,
without help.
yeah.
So
You need the great.
Let me call my guys first.
yeah, and I had to realize that because in college I was really good. I played on the football team, and I was really good at befriending the offensive and defensive line people.
Yes.
So I was the guy at the bar that started the fight and then just let them
Backed off
finish
and
it.
let them
Yeah,
do
I've
it.
never been in a fight. They fought it for me, but I was a loudmouth that might have initiated it. But
That's such a little man thing.
I know,
That's
that.
such a tiny guy thing.
That's
Yeah.
the dance team lead kind of move.
yeah, dance captain.
Dance captain.
2 years.
This is where you splice in the video.
Yeah, yeah.
We can have a dance battle, brother. Let's
Right.
take this to the dance floor.
Yeah, I mean, real life problems don't get solved like Footloose. It just doesn't happen.
Wouldn't it be such a better place if
I
you
know.
could just dance it out?
Just High School Musical style? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No, yeah, that was when I was like, hey, I'm not going to be able to, like, protect me, first off, or anyone else in my family without something. So I needed, like, a plan. But I think what you said of, like, having a plan for those situations that you pray never happen is, like, really important. And, like, bringing your kids into that plan.
Yeah.
I think the biggest mistake that men make is like, well, yeah, I know what we're going to do.
I'm gonna do it.
If our house starts on fire or if a carbon
Right.
monoxide detector goes off, but you're not home all the time. And your kids might not know, and you might not be able to reach your kid. You know, like if a fire, for instance, you might not be able to get in there to get them out, and they don't know what to do. So...
Wow, now we got our homework cut out there.
Right, I know. I was like, that's like, you inspired me.
Yeah.
Or Kate. Well,
Yeah,
both
you
of
might want to thank Kate.
Whichever.
No, I mean,
I'm still learning.
I feel
Still in
like
training.
Kate has like a lot of her stuff together from like a mom perspective of like what she wants to instill, and then like
For
creates
sure.
an action plan and
Oh
does
yeah. Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
it. Yeah, where I'm like, I would love to do that someday.
Someday.
Someday down the road, when my kids seem interested.
Right.
Someday's not a date.
Yeah.
It doesn't come.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm teaching my 2-year-old today told what to recite to strangers.
So we watched. So our kids have. We've gone through that talk, yes, but we watched a video last night, and it was a mom prompting her kid, and she said, "So what do you do?" I don't even think I can say this. She said, "So what do you do if somebody tries to talk to you and tell you to come with them, and they say, 'Oh, we know your mom. We're here to pick you up. You need to come with us.'" And the kid goes, "F you." And this was like maybe a 4-year-old. I was like,
Yeah.
you know, if that's the context we're going to use it.
Oh my god.
I had a cop. He trained us at like church safety, and he's like, there is an actual like use for a tactical F-bomb.
Oh, for sure.
Oh.
You know, but I'm like, wow, that's like a actual like technique. But like,
That's great.
are we supposed to swear in church? You know, like, it was like in the context of like training church safety personnel. Like,
Well,
I don't think I'm gonna say get off the stage in front of the whole congregation. But
wait, if it comes down to it, that'll get more people's attention probably faster. And so, yeah. No, I heard a YouTube video the other day that was like the hierarchy of morality, and we all experience that at some levels, but like there is a certain amount that in an emergency situation, it should be a no-brainer to be like, oh yeah, you know, F-bomb comes out or whatever. Like, in practice, it comes out, and then when you're thinking about it, you're like, hold on, I don't want to do anything wrong. But
yeah. I feel like I'm not a good enough Christian that I'm not going to be swearing in that situation.
Your former instincts are going to kick in now.
I haven't got to that place in my sanctification of where if something bad happens, I'm going to go, dang it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think,
Oh, snap. Oh,
yeah.
shoot.
Shuckers.
Have any of your guys' kids pulled a bad word out yet? Have you guys done these stories yet?
We talked about this.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Ryland's told me to shut up on multiple occasions.
Yep.
We're not even sure where he got that one because none of us say that. And then I get in trouble because Ryland basically said, damn it. But in perfect context, like it was within the context of the conversation. And I played it off like I didn't know where that was from, and Lily immediately stooged me out. And I said, well, you know, I'm here all day. I don't try not to curse around my kids, but I'm allowed to have one.
Right, right.
As long as we teach them how to use it and when not to use it.
Yep. Yes. That's what that's the framework Jess is taking with it, because Jess definitely cusses more than I do. But it was about like a month or two ago. We were with my in-laws and like the entire family at my sister-in-law's house, and the kids were like going around this kind of like circle area in little cars, and Alistair, one of his cousins, was pushing him, and they ran right into the wall. And like right away his first word was like, oh god damn it. And the in-laws were right there. Like, they do not cuss, and everyone just like looks over, and I'm like, oh, time to go have a conversation.
And you just went over and kicked that cousin in the head.
Good job, bud.
I was just like, oh man.
So I had one today that Theo was saying the F word, but like, thankfully it was out of context. There's like almost some like relief to that. He was like, oh, this is up. You know, it's like, oh, okay. I think you're just trying out sounds together, because it wasn't
just trying to figure this out.
Yeah. So didn't give him a reaction on that. Just like,
as long as you don't sell it, they won't realize it's anything.
Right. The word you're looking for, by the way, that was a pig, actually. Yeah.
Was it your kid that when they said something it sounded really bad?
Oh, I'm so bad because like I encourage that when they say,
See,
it was
that's
a
my
frog or
personality.
something like
I
that.
get a kick out of it.
Yeah, so I encourage them to say that over and over again. So, but yeah, I probably shouldn't be doing that. But
Yeah,
it was frog, and he couldn't say it, and so just I would work it into every conversation and try to get him to say it.
Did Alistair used to say fire truck, but not say the truck correctly?
Fire F.
Am I thinking of that right?
He might.
I'm pretty sure I remember that. 'Cause I remember getting a lot of giggles out of that.
The best
I don't
one
sell it,
was-
but I get good giggles out of that one.
The best one for us was, so I told you earlier that I'm pretty sarcastic.
Yeah.
And so
Welcome
I
to the
was
club.
FaceTiming with my best friend from college, and it's like Jess's best friend too. And she was giving Alistair a bath. This was like a year ago, and I was talking to him, and I was making fun of Jess, and she like peeks her head out because she can hear, and she like peeks her head out of the bathroom, and she goes, "For fuck's sake," right? And Alistair just goes, and he can't say it right, but like for like 5 minutes straight, he just goes, "For F's sake, for F's sake, for F's sake."
It's just
Because
on repeat.
it was on repeat, and my
Yes.
friend who cusses a lot is just dying
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
a FaceTime call. And so now whenever we see him, he like will pronounce things the way that Alistair says them.
Yes.
And that's like one of the ones that he does all the time now. But
That's good. I love that. Oh, I do that with every word they pronounce wrong.
Yeah.
I will
Mhm. Yeah.
use that in their conversation.
Yes.
Because like it's almost like that. I don't want them to grow up kind of thing.
Oh my gosh, yes. Do you have a favorite? Like a favorite word that they say that you're like, I know I should correct this.
Yeah.
I know this is going to be a bad habit, but I can't give this up.
Right.
Yes. Any 2-letter combination that has an S in it, pretty much. Theo says those as F. So like. And hey, this is very small. This is fall or whatever. And so it just like works itself into some great kind of cute little conversation-y things or whatever.
Theo also has like the cutest way of talking.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes.
And he's so articulate
He'll,
for
like,
Yeah.
he'll go, "What
2.5-year-old.
Brady?"
Yeah.
Like it's just
Yeah.
cute. And
Yeah, and he's correcting them himself, and
Right.
and he'll correct me if I try to tell him to say how he used to say stuff. Or whatever.
Yeah.
So-
See,
And then you're like, "Well, dang it! Now you're not cute anymore."
right.
with Rylan, we've got multiple comments about, you shouldn't encourage, like, he's going to have to see a speech pathologist one day. I was
Right.
like, well, no, he's 3. He'll figure, like,
whatever.
that's...
He'll be
Yeah,
fine.
I saw a
my
speech
mother-in-law and I may have
pathologist,
had a
like-
conversation about that. But one of my favorites he does currently is he hasn't quite figured out how to read the clock, so he'll just ask Alexa. But he says, "How time is it, Alexa?" And I'm like, "We're gonna keep that one for a while."
What time is
Yeah.
it?
Yes.
Although these kids are getting a little too comfortable with Alexa because they'll shout out their favorite songs, and she does a really good job of understanding him because half the times like I don't know what song he's trying to say, and she'll pull it right up. But he's
I remember the story.
he said, "Alexa, play Who Let the Dogs Out." And Alexa goes, "Playing All the Dogs by Lil Wayne." And Kate's in the other room, and she's like, "No!" And she shoots up, "Alexa, off! Alexa, off!" And we didn't, like, I had never heard the song. We didn't know the song. So we were on, like, a date night. We're driving. I'm like, "Hey, do you want to pull up that song and see what that is?" And we pull it up, and we're like, "Oh, I'm very glad we didn't play this one." So now we're like, yeah, we have to monitor what goes on with Alexa.
Alexa.
Oh my
It's
God.
always in the back of the ear.
Wow, one of Gideon's first words is Google. He can say Google. He can't say most of other things. That's like the whole new generation we're headed to.
My son calls it Doodle.
Doodle, yes.
Dude.
Yep. And then I tell Theo, "Hey, you're very smart. Say that back to Dad."
Yes.
I'm very fart. It doesn't take much with me.
You're not smart. Sorry. I'll take it back. What's the funniest, like, one, just, like, hilarious thing that, like, you guys still talk about your kids say? Like, your kid has said one time.
Well, so Rye, when he gets mad, he'll say, and I wrote these down because these were some good ones. He'll say stuff like, "You are not the best daddy." And he'll go, "Mom, you are not the best mommy." And then he'll like knock something down real dramatic and then walk away. Or he'll
That
go,
comes from Blue.
he'll go, "You're not my mommy."
Oh my
Sorry, son. We all. You're not my dad. No, we are, but I'm sorry you feel that way right now.
Yeah.
So he'll shoot like random little things, and like half of them don't make sense, but every once in a while he'll get a good one in there. I'm like, okay, son.
Yeah.
Sorry you feel that way right now.
Yeah. Mine is my son will like tell obscene facts about our family, and we're pretty open about like who we are and what's happened in our family and that stuff. If they ask, we're gonna be honest with them. We're gonna be honest. Yeah. So like I have two, but like a softer one is we had like hosted our church small group at our house, and Oliver, when he greeted everyone when they came in. They go, "This is my dad, and he is 29." And this year he will be 30. It's his last birthday. This year it's his last birthday. It's his last birthday. and the rest of that sentence is that he left out was until he's 30.
Right.
But he just said this is his last birthday, and everyone's like, do you know something we don't know? What's going on? And I was kind of nervous too at the moment because I was like, God, what are you telling me?
Missed a diagnosis? Uh-oh.
Yeah, so you would just leave that out, and if they then people would be like freaked out, and they'd be like, until what? And until he's 30.
Until he's 30.
And they're like, oh, you're just good at counting. Yeah. And then the other thing he'll say is like, or then he'll add on to that. It's like he's my dad, and his dad is dead.
Oh my gosh!
Because my father is passed, but he'll just like randomly work that into a conversation. It's like my dad's dad is Roger, and he's dead.
Oh my god!
And then no one, like people that like it's their first time coming over for dinner or stuff like that.
Don't know how to respond.
I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, we just honestly answer questions because he knows all the other grandparents, and he asked about my dad because like my mom's married to Mark, who's not my dad, and we had to explain that. I'm like, well, where's your dad? And I had to say my dad's dead, and now he's turned it into a party line.
Right.
And so
you think he's fueled by the uncomfortability a little bit?
I think he does because he like kind of smiles and looks her up and then leaves the room to not explain like the rest. Just like we'll shout obscene facts like about our family.
There's so many people who are already uncomfortable talking to a child, like they don't know that interaction, and I just love the dynamic that he's like, let me put you on the spot right away.
Yeah. I mean, it molds better friendships in the end when you have to like, just blast them with that.
Yeah, get the worst out of the way first.
Yeah, let's just be real awkward right in the door. Like here's where your shoes
not
go.
Not a bad icebreaker.
Let me take your coat, hang it up, and my dad's dead. So,
if you want to talk about that.
If you wanted to talk about that, that's open door. We can go down there.
Open dick conversation.
Yeah.
Wow. See, Evie doesn't like do anything like that. Evie is very sensitive, but she's very curious about everything, and that's like one of our favorite things about her because the other two will ask questions and listen to our explanations on things, but Everly is like very engaged and has follow-up questions to everything. So the latest one was she asked us, how do our prayers get to God? And she told us it's because since we fold our hands, we speak into our hands, and then it travels through our arms and then gets into our hearts, and he hears it that way. And
that's so cute.
And what do you say? And so mom goes, yeah. And then she goes, and then she follows it up with, okay, good, because I thought it may have had something to do with the radio towers, and I didn't think that was.
That's so great.
Radio tower. She is the funniest girl. I was like, see, I get where you're going from. But I like that praying to the hands because we fold our hands and bow our heads, so we're praying.
Yep,
that's so.
I mean, I love the like inner workings of like a child brain,
and she
And sometimes
she pulls
it's
them out
more
all the time.
accurate than like what adults
are
like.
She stumps us all the time with theological questions that I'm like, I don't know how to. And then she'll like completely understand the answer.
Oh yeah.
More than I could, and I'm like, see,
Because they don't have a worldview
Yeah.
to like get in the way.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
great.
And every when she comes out of Sunday school, she'll always have the follow-up questions, and she'll tell us. Yeah, it's fun. It's awesome getting to watch her experience her faith in her own five-year-old way and wrestle with questions that are way beyond what I ever would have been doing at 5, 6, 7, 8, 20.
22.
22. Yeah. It's,
Yeah, it's funny.
That's great. Wow. Proud dad moment.
It's very much
Yeah.
fun, yeah.
That's great.
I have a complete opposite story.
I was like, what are we gonna ruin it with?
So you'll learn about me. I can't leave anything serious.
Yes.
Kate, it's one of the things Kate hates most about me because she'll call me babe, and I'll go, oh, babe. She'll go, why do you have to ruin it? Or I'll do something sweet and then immediately have to turn on my sarcasm and because I can't let it sit. She
What
figures
does that say about that?
So we were so here I'm gonna ruin that cute
He
moment.
takes out
So
the
we
yellow notebook. Like,
we
DSM-5 here, guys.
Yeah, we can get into that. That's a whole nother pod. We can. So we were going through the McDonald's over on Market.
Oh no.
And we got both the windows down. Order our food. Get up to the window, and Kate's like, "It really smells like weed over here." And I was like, "Yeah, it's legal. Everywhere smells like weed." Yeah. I didn't think anything of it. I order the chicken sandwich. She gets a burger. We pull away. As she's getting on to head home, I'm like, I'm hungry, I'm just gonna eat. So I get my sandwich out, take the first bite, immediately tastes like weed. Yeah, the sandwich, and I don't want to explain how I know that. I have my youth, but
There you go.
very distinct, like they must have been blowing it straight onto this piece of chicken.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, is this real?
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do with that information. I was like, do I call the McDonald's and say, hey, your chicken tastes like weed, let's go ahead and fix that? Or should I just expect that from certain places now? Again, like you would say, Chick-fil-A would never do this to us. So
Yeah.